Okay, there we go. I'm
All
now
right.
recording this call.
All right. Thank you so much. Uh, I was in Canada from 2008 to about 2014, 2015. I came back home because I wanted to start up a fully automated car wash um, spa. That's what I called it.
Very cool.
Um,
And then where's home?
Nigeria,
Okay, got it. Very cool.
Nigeria. So Lagos, Nigeria. Uh, that's one phase of the business, and the other phase was also an automated, fully mechanized agricultural farming system for maize, wheat, and um, cassava. So, and also included in this is an ethanol plant
Yeah.
for you know, processing of ethanol.
Yeah.
So, and all this comes at a huge cost. So at that point in time, I had a couple of funds which I had from savings from working in Canada, and I came back home. So and I lost most of the money to fake later credits here and there, trying to source for funding. So that's about it until I got in touch with, I don't know if you know of a finance house in the US called Solid Chartered Bank.
Charter Bank, I do. Solely Charter Bank, I've heard of them.
Yeah, so I know the president is my
Nice.
friend, very good friend, but they're not a rated bank, so they're non-rated. So my ideal for this conversation is how do I, or how would you advise that I get the fundings to be able to actualize this dream and bring this project to Nigeria? There's none of its kind in Africa. That's none of its kind in West Africa where I'm located. So it's a franchise I want to grow in the African hemisphere, so to speak.
So first of all, I don't know if you know this about me, but I don't live in Africa, so I couldn't tell you how to grow your business or your dream in Africa. So that's part one.
Yeah, yeah.
How much cash do you have?
Okay. Number one, for the agricultural area, um, there's about 20,000 acres of land.
No, sorry,
That's
I
for
don't.
that. But
Sorry, if I don't ask you about, if I tell you how much cash you have, give me a number that's cash.
okay.
Don't tell me about the weather report. Now you're wasting my time and you're wasting your time. Like really, be
Okay.
straight about it. How much
Okay.
cash do you have? Give me a number.
Uh, around 100,000.
100,000. And then how much do you need in total for everything you want to do?
Around 40 million.
And then how soon do you need the 40 million?
It depends on if I can get it before the end of the year. It depends on what your advice or how you think I can go around it, looking at the different kind of projects you have in place.
Yeah. So my target audience is successful businesses. Like they usually have a lot more cash than $100,000 and they're
Hmm.
looking for 40 million. That like that. But to have like $100,000 and $140 million, honestly God, and then you want it by the end of this year, that's really hard.
No, I would work with a timeline that you deem feasible. The thing is, I can get people to be a part of it, but I don't want to bring in people when I don't have a concrete way of funding it. Because if, for example, you tell me, Joe, you would need ABC, I can bring in a team of people who has XYZ amount of money and say,
Yeah.
okay, we trust you, we'll work with you.
Yeah.
But I don't want to bring them in and I get them to lose their money. I rather keep my dignity and integrity.
No, for sure. No, that understand. That understand. That understand. That understand. That understand. You know, in real estate, there's a saying called OPM. I can't remember how it stands for, but the concept is use other people's money. A lot of real estate developers maybe the first project or second project, they use their own money to buy a property or a farm or something like that. In the second project, third project, their money is tied up. Their money is tied up. So the only way they can grow their business, the only way they can scale and grow their business is to get investors in. And to tell the investor, hey, I will give you shares in my company, or I'll give you shares in a transaction, something like that, if you're willing to put money up for this project. And then they invite the investor to come and look at the real estate or whatever the project is and do it that way, if that makes sense. So one of the things that you may want to do for the vision you have is to get some experience in how to go get investors' capital in. When you get investors' capital in, you can put the money in a bank where their money is safe and secure, and get a standby letter of credit, SBLC, from the bank. And then you can monetize the SBLC, trade the SBLC, so that their money is safe, and yet you get access to capital that you're looking for. That by itself, if you've been following me for 2 years, would be some version of a managed buy sell program that you have to learn how to do it yourself. But if you can get, you're looking for 40 million, right? So if you got, a couple, like maybe $2.5 million from investors, you could easily get 80 million or 100, more than 100 million SBLC for sure. And if you monetize it, you'll easily be able to get a $20 million proceeds out of it to invest it in your project.
Okay.
So that's one option for sure. But that option, if you're new to this, I would not recommend it. If you're new to this, it's like taking a child that doesn't know how to swim and taking them to the ocean. It's not that it can be done. You can put your feet in the ocean. You can put your feet in the ocean and walk down the ocean, but going far deep in the ocean would be hard to do by yourself. You would need somebody like me to hold your hand and work with you or something like that, right? So that would be one. If you need $40 million in 1 year, that would be one avenue that I could see possible, assuming you're committed to or willing to commit to getting investors to come in on your project. And then you need to have a good business plan, a solid business plan. Most probably the people you're contacting are African business people that have wealth and have money. You probably don't want to go to a guy who is a Donald Trump supporter and all they care about is America. They don't care about Africa. You know what I mean? Like that.
I get you.
So that's version 1. Version 2, something else I think would be worth your time to look at is government grants. And let me see if I can find your website. I'll send this to you on the chat. On the chat, I sent you a website called Government Grants, but let me also send it to you here. So if I go to search grants, and then I say Africa, let's say Africa, and then I will say eligibility, I will say unsecured, unrestricted. So there is a lot of grants in Africa. So you'll have to go through these pages of grants to see what are all the grants that you can qualify for. Country sanitation probably would not be one. Human rights, sustainable management. So like landscape, right? Sustainable something managed landscape. If I click on that, see the highest they will give you is $7.8 million. They're not going to go more than that. They'll tell you who to contact. what the grant for is like that. Give me a second. What you'll have to go through is this is a water sanitation one in Tanzania, which doesn't qualify, but it's worth looking at government grants.
Okay.
Like as an example, like I don't think that will hurt.
Yeah.
And then for 100,000, I think you may want to. You could talk to Russ, our CEO, about managed by sell programs and say, hey, do you have a program that I can syndicate $100,000 in? But managed by sell programs, if you cannot wait a year, I wouldn't touch
So
it.
another thing I want you to know, another thing I want you to also, know is, for example, yes, I have 100,000, but if I am looking at having you provide me a letter of credit that could be monetized, like I said, depending on what I need to do, I would get my local investors to be on board. I don't, like I said, I don't want to bring them in and lose money the way I did.
Okay.
You talked about there's something you talked about in one of your videos where you talked about rent. Is it rent an uncle kind of thing?
Rent a rich uncle.
Yes, rent a rich uncle program.
So
And
rent
where
a
you
rich uncle, you, not me, has to go find a bank in Africa. You have to
okay,
convince the lender why they should loan you money because I'm not the one loaning you anything. The
okay,
lender has to buy into the project. If you don't have a lender that's meant to buy into the project, I can't help you. In talking to a lender, you could say, to sweeten the deal, you could say you have a partner called All Funds Global. All Funds Global is prepared to buy courtesy deposits from the bank. So you have to talk to a bank that's willing to sell courtesy deposits to me. And there's two conditions. Condition one is my money, my courtesy deposits cannot be collateralized. So if the lender wants collateral, the bank wants to provide collateral. As for collateral, you have to be the one offering it to them. Like my money cannot be collateral. You either understand it or you don't. So you have to give the bank a collateral. Condition two is you have to get the funds you're looking for. So let's say you find a bank, they're willing to give you $40 million on the assumption that I put up, let's say $50 million. Then you have to ask the bank, who's their corresponding bank in North America that's FDIC insured. I can't put my money with a private bank that nobody knows about. I have to put my money with an FDIC insured bank. So if the bank in North America goes bankrupt, the government, insures my deposit.
okay,
And then you should watch my banking videos because if you do, then you know that the African bank, if they get $50 million from me, they should be able to go to their central bank and get a $500 million line of credit from their central bank. They should then be able to give you, let's say, $40 million loan, but they got a $500 million line of credit for $40 million loan.
okay. So that's that. So how would you um initiate or say I go, because I know that again in one of your videos you talked about PPP and capital.
Yeah, so I feel you're coming to this call confused. What program do you want to
Okay.
talk about that would be of value for your time?
That's why I am open to understand if you tell me, okay, based on what you want, this will probably work.
Okay,
And
good. So
I
okay, good.
run with it.
Okay, so let me give you some examples, or let me start with number one on your list. I think should be looking at government grants. There are lots of governments in Africa and not-for-profits in Africa that have money and would spend money, invest money, deposit money on your project. I'm not a government grant guy, so I couldn't be the one helping you. But if I was you, given you're a young person, government grants, I think would be an option. that is worth searching for, looking at, I give you one website, and there was a lot of opportunities that you can go to. So that would be like option one that I would investigate if I were you. The cost for you is $0. Other than your time is $0. You're spending a lot of time putting an application together for the government project. I can't see a government agency giving you $40 million because of an idea. So that's the first thing I would do is I would do that. The second thing I would do if I were you, if you just want to use your $100,000, I would contact Russ, our CEO of Funds Global, and ask him if he's raising any money for a managed buy-sell program. If you watch my videos, you know what managed buy-sell programs are about. Yeah. And if Russ is raising any money and he knows you, you have to be somebody he knows and like things like that. Then he could say, okay, I'll take $100,000 through a law firm, I'll syndicate it, but there he's taking your money, but my money as well, clients' money, is like things like that, to generate $1.5 to $3 million. When he has that money in place, we're using our resources to go get $100 million stamp out of credit that we then have to monetize. And depending on the market value, we'll get 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, some amount of money out of it. And your $100,000, you get a proportion to that return that we're getting on your $100,000. And the good thing about it is going through law firms. It's not like money that we pocket and disappear. It goes into a law firm with contracts attached to it. That would be one option. Another one of our option is the Income Accelerator Program. This is a program where you talk to a trader from HSBC that we have a private engagement with, and he's doing Forex trading. So he will get you to open up a trading account. You deposit your $100,000 in your trading account. He logs into your trading account. He trades from that. He does on average, this is just average, about 120% annualized a year. So your $100,000 would become a lot more by the end of the year, but the money's in your trading account. So that's like another option. So that's like option 2 and 3, I think are things you might consider. Option 3, sorry, 2 and 3, yeah. Option 4 would be put investors together. Put investors together in a special purpose vehicle, get them to deposit money in a special purpose vehicle, then use that money to do your project. Or if you don't feel comfortable to use their money to do a project, you can pool their money and go get an SBLC.
Okay. So if I may ask, what would it cost us to get 100 million SBLC, between 50 and 100 million SBLC? Right? What will it cost? And then, in terms of monetization, what would be the lookout for?
100 million SBLC costs us anywhere between I would say 7 to 14% for the cost of the SBLC. There's legal fees on top of it. That's the upfront cost. Purchase would be anywhere between 47 to 62%, somewhere in there, depending who's the bank, what's the rating of the bank, like things like that. Monetization of lease SBLC would vary from 50 to 70%. For purchase, it'll be 80 to 90%, like that.
So what would be the legal fees to have you, what would be the legal fees if I take you to get purchase or lease an SBLC for monetization?
So the fees you would pay the law firm we use. We only get paid on performance. We don't have any other fee structures. We always get paid on performance. The law firm we use charges a $74,000 retainer fee upfront. That's their fee, and that's money you would have to pay them. And
So
then on
if
top of that, you would have to come up with the wiring money, like the 3%, 7% for the SBLC that you want to purchase or lease.
so so then when is the how do I put this now? So if the law firm is being paid, they are $74,000 out of the way, right? At what point is the purchase of this SBLC being paid for?
At the time of monetization.
Okay, so other than the $74,000, what else will I be paying for?
And the wiring fee of the instrument. Usually it's about usually it's 1.5 to 2 points. So in our case, it would be a minimum of $1.5 million, which includes the legal fees and the wiring fee of the instrument. If the client can't afford, like they only want a $500,000 SBLC. For such a small amount, they should go to their bank. We don't add value to that. There's no value we add. There's no competitive advantage we have, and we don't make money on somebody who wants $500,000 or $800,000 SBLC. I bring no value, nor do we make money. So why would we play in that space? The client says, I want $500 million, $200 million. I want somebody I can trust. And I'm trusting you guys. Now we have value. We can put up our money because the issuer is not going to wire the money for free or wire the SBLC to Timbuktu. They want to make sure that their fee is secured somewhere. So we bring the issuer, we put up our money, we bring the monetizer, we do a lot of things like that.
Okay. And that whole process will take how long?
Usually 60 to 90 days.
Okay, now if we're doing 100 and I'm able to provide the legal fees and I'm able to provide let's say we're looking at 1.5 million, right?
Yeah.
For everything, right? Now, if at the point of monetization, when monetization is done, can we take part of the fund and put it into a PPP so that it can also regenerate funds?
Yeah, I'm not the guy for that. I'm not even interested in doing that. I'm interested in people that have a lot of money and want me to multiply it, but I don't want to take somebody who has $10 and make them a trillionaire. Like, I'm not interested in doing that. You would have to go find somebody else who'll do that. I'm not. It's way too much emotional support. The guys who have $10 trillion mentally, they're at a different place than the guy who has $10. And then I have to do all the heavy lifting for them, financially train them. Tomorrow, the guy, because he only has $10, his house leaks. He doesn't have any money. He'll call me because the house is leaking like that. I'm not interested in that at all. Like, I'm not interested in that market at all. I'll do one thing.
So what amount?
And at the end of it, that's the end of it for me. I don't take people who have $10 and try to make them trillionaires. It's just way too much work. It's work I'm not interested in doing.
Oh, okay, clearly understood. So what I want to know is what amount will make you do that?
I can just do one project at a time.
Okay, one project at a time.
Yeah.
Okay. So
So
now,
if you want to do manage buy sell program, that's easy.
Say that again.
If you want to manage buy sell program, that's easy. You can talk to a CEO to see if he has an opening for doing that. If not, then it will be the income accelerator program. $100,000 will help you out for sure.
Okay, but if I'm able to, like I said, if I'm able to take on the purchase and monetize, that would be great for me too.
Perfect. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, again, if I'm able to do 100 specifically, let's say I'm able to do purchase, and you say it's going to take around 40%, 47% or thereabout.
Yeah, but by the way, do you know Joseph Orhurhu?
That's me.
Okay, no, sorry, I apologize. Somebody else join us. Setemi.
Okay. Yeah, that's my friend.
Okay, hi Setemi,
We're
how are you?
together. He's probably driving or doing something.
Why don't I do this as a way to serve you? If I may, why don't I do this as a way to serve you? Why don't I introduce you to Asanka, who runs the Income Accelerator Program? Asanka will say,
Okay.
if you have $100,000, we'll put it into a trade of a Forex program. These are the results you can count on, and the money's in your account. And you get a contract from Asanka. You do not get a contract from AFG. We share, Asanka will charge a fee on performance, and we get a portion of that from Asanka. So you don't pay us anything, we get paid from Asanka, and that's the end of that. And then what I introduce you to Asanka, I can also introduce you to Russ, our CEO. Tell him you've been following me for 2.5 years, you know AFG, that. You have $100,000 or something like that. You want to explore your options with managed buy sell program. And what is it that he can help you with? Then you have two options from my company. But I also gave you options outside of my company that we don't do that I think is worth exploring, like government grants,
Sure. Sure.
or getting investors
I'll look into that.
to investors to pull together. That's worth it for sure, like that. And if I have some clients, they're not as smart as you. They're not. The guy's a doctor or he's an engineer or something like that. And he says, Taimour, I want you to be the CFO of my company. So we have a service called Trusted Advisory Service. They pay us a retainer fee, and then we become like their CFO. Our job is to help them out every week. We schedule calls. We use our banking relationships to open doors. We structure transactions for their companies so we keep them away from harm, like that. So maybe later on at some point, if you don't want to do a lot of the stuff and you want us to do it, it's a retainer-based service, but now we have more of an active, we have our feet on the ground, like we're active partners in helping you do that. That's something, I don't know if that would serve you, but those would be the things that I would do.
That would be a future thing.
Yeah, future thing.
So that's fine. I would explore if you get me Russell and the other person's information, that would be good.
Yeah, that's very easy to do, and I'm happy to do that for sure.
But I'm not gonna throw away the option of buying an SBLC. I have the numbers now. So
Okay, good.
what that would mean for me is sitting my investors down and saying, okay, if we do this, this is what you get back in return. And see how I can take it from there. And if you're telling me in 90 days, will be done from start to finish, that would be great too.
Yeah, on average, it'll be 90 days. It could be a little bit longer for sure.
180 days could be a good number.
How many days?
180 days.
Sure, 180 days, no problem.
Okay. And then so if I have 1.5, we can do 100.
No, you'll do more than 100. 100 million SBLC. 100
Yes.
million SBLC. Listen, Russ will tell you.
Yes.
Russ will tell you we do this ourselves. Russ will tell you we do this ourselves, for ourselves. Like,
okay.
We don't make money out of doing consultation calls. Let me see if I can share something with you. Yeah. This is, I'm going to stop the recording here. Okay. I'm going to stop this recording.